evening, everyone, and welcome back to the English shooting live stream. As like last week, we're here in the Magload HQ, joined by Connors.
You're welcome.
Who's always very happy to be on the streams. He doesn't take any convincing at all, I promise. Don't worry, I'll sort out those favours later for you. For anyone else who doesn't know, we have Mr. Paul Wyborn with us, actionaire extraordinaire.
Oh, that rhymes.
I still don't know why I signed up for this shit, but
no, you don't.
Well.
Well, you seem very keen.
He doesn't really have a choice.
No, he doesn't. It's it's literally in his contract.
We should put it in his contract.
So the KFC makes it worth it.
Yeah. Yes. Not that we have junk food before every single live stream, although that seems to be the case. So it's the usual deal. Any questions or topics you want to bring up, you want to talk about, then use the chat section. It is going to be a very competition and very practical competition based live stream, basically because there's really nothing that's happened this week, and
really because when you've got actual competitors on the stream, you should talk about actual competition stuff.
How was your last competition?
Mine was really good. I won.
what you mean the LBR match? No, that was really good.
No, that was before.
No, there weren't any matches after that.
That's it. They stop
forever.
They stop at your last win.
They stop at my last win.
So we are trying out a few different things and setups, mainly because I forgot the main mic, but luckily we've got a backup mic. So let us know.
You say trying out a few different setups. He forgot the backup mic, so we're using the mic we found in the bottom of a drawer.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. Which we were going to use to give more distributed sound, but well, I forgot the mic. So we've got one mic. Let us know how it sounds.
Tell us if it sounds distributed.
Distributed, not defence distributed, of course.
No.
So we would appreciate any topics or questions to keep us going. It really has been a slow news week. Although there's been lots of things Magload wise, but we won't bore you straight away with the Magload specifics. Although we are just going to go on to what is an ultimate.
So let's talk about some Magload specifics.
Yeah.
So it seems like chat is kind of dead tonight. So you guys are clearly not even watching. So
just go home.
Yeah.
Just go home.
Did you go to the pub last night?
Did I go to the pub? Yes. Yeah, I went to the pub.
Good pub.
It was a good pub.
Yeah. Good pub.
Got there a bit late as I was here. What was I doing here last night?
Handguard.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah.
The last handguard to ever be cut on your machine, hopefully.
Yeah.
Touch wood.
Touch wood. Well, I don't know. You've got a couple more glued up, haven't you? But from now on, they're all going to be done on the Y-axis lathe.
Yes. Fingers crossed.
That's the plan.
So yes, the main topic, and we'll get straight into it. What is the ultimate competition gun? Now, this isn't meant to be. This is more of a discussion. It's not a statement, because every competitor's different, and even amongst world champions or really the sort of top 0.1% of shooters across the world, there will be a huge variation in how their guns will be set up, what optics they're using, what accessories they are using. But we thought, we've been in the pursuit of the ultimate mini rifle for a long time. We still don't think we've got there, but edging ever more closer. You've obviously honed in your Supernova quite well.
The Supernova doesn't get any more, for me personally, any better than that. I'm interested to see what the Nova Speed brings to the table.
Yep.
So Yuri Nikolaev has got one. He's been posting up loads of detailed pictures, which is stuff we've not seen before, answering a lot of questions. I'm liking what I see so far. I still want to get my hands on it before I pass judgment, but especially since this thing is developing cracks in places that it shouldn't now, I will be looking to switch over to the Nova Speed hopefully when it comes out. The alternative is if I don't end up liking the Nova Speed, I will go with what I know and just get another Supernova.
So I'm just finding Yuri's post. So Yuri,
scroll down a bit more.
Has been.
These are the pictures that are probably the most interesting.
Okay, so we haven't got that. Well, I mean, there's no Nova Speeds in the UK at the moment.
No.
Apart from maybe a demo one that GMK
there isn't
has.
even a demo one.
There isn't even a demo one.
There are no Nova Speeds.
We can only go by photos that people in other countries that have them in the wild. So I'll bring this up. So this is Yuri Nikolaev. So he is the Russian standard manual champion.
Yes, correct.
Uses a Magload Nexus Pro. Just get that one.
He's got a custom green one, which Paul was very envious of until he got his own built up.
Now I have two.
Which is actually
And a V-loader.
And a V-loader.
You can go grab it if you want.
I'll grab it.
So this is the port and shell catch of the Nova Speed.
So what I can tell you, what's really interesting about this is despite first appearances, it doesn't actually look like a normal semi-auto latch. The spring appears to be around the pivot point, which is not something we've seen before, ever. It's nothing like I've ever seen before. We have a two-piece articulated latch, which is an absolute must for any Benelli within.
Well, that's one of the number one upgrades that you do to a standard field.
Yes.
Is that the standard M2 field comes with a single piece latch.
There's lots of people who will modify the single piece latch. We'll show you those green loaders in a second. There's lots of people who will modify the single piece latch, but the issue is by modifying it, you shorten its life. By far and away, the best thing to do is to fit a two-piece latch. Now you can buy two-piece latches for the M2 and swap those out. We'll actually be getting some in and hopefully putting them up on the website for you, much like we do with the 1301 parts. But this has a two-piece latch plus a spring arrangement I've never seen before. So we've got two springs working in there. I'll be very interested to see how it actually works. This gun should be immune to shell surge, which is a problem you get with the Supernova because it actually has two shell latches in there, a shell latch and an interrupter latch. So yeah, I'd be interested to see what happens. We can see the port is really nice and open. It's cut. It looks like it's cut in all the right places. I would be tempted to thin the receiver down a bit more, but let's have a look at it when it comes in.
Something to sort of bear in mind with the Supernova is a polymer receiver.
Yes.
Which makes it very easy to modify. Well, the trigger guard is separate anyway, so it makes it easy. But is the standard Nova metal?
No. The standard Nova is very, very similar construction to the Supernova.
So the Nova Speed is the first Nova variant to be metal construction.
Yes, and it actually has a very similar looking receiver to the M2.
Yeah.
Still have to compare them side by side, but I believe there's not going to be a ton of differences. Yes, so this is something that Yuri was talking about. So Benelli have decided to put this plastic cover on the Nova Speed. As far as I can tell from what Yuri's saying, it's just to take up the slop in the handguard. So when we chop the pump handle of a Supernova, you actually lose the registering faces that keep the pump handle straight. So the pump handle wobbles around a lot. With this, the pump handle should stay quite solid and aid in manipulating the gun, hopefully. But I suspect it'll be one of the first things to come off the gun. So here Yuri's talking about this weird annular crimp that's on the tube. We don't really know what that's all about yet. I suspect it's something to do with locating the big plastic piece. So we'll see what happens with that.
Okay, and I think that's it for those. I'm going to come off there. There are some more photos from Yuri's, and as you can see, Paul's very proud
of his green loaders.
Green loaders. So we're getting to the point where we're actually going to be offering off the website custom colours on the Nexus Pro. So it's sort of one of the worst kept secrets out there that you can get a custom colour loader.
Yes.
But it is by special request and you have to get in touch.
The thing is,
but it will be an option.
We've got standardised prices and we can do it. It just takes a bit of waiting. That's all.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just been a long time coming putting it up on the website.
Getting back onto what is the ultimate competition gun. Obviously, why we focus on the speed is the speeds are meant to be
the ultimate
shotguns. Yeah. What we've heard so far, and again, this is purely on the M2 speed, is that it's a 95% gun, which actually puts it far above anything else you can buy out of the box. I mean, what would you say percentage-wise the M2 SP is?
60%.
So the SP when it first came out was like meant to be the ultimate out of the box practical shotgun out of the box.
It really wasn't, and it was followed by the 1301 Comp Pro,
which is
identical in most ways to the 1301 Comp. The only added things we had is the new button, which is actually not new. It's been standard in the A400 for God knows how long. We've got the hold down lifter, which is a common modification people would do anyway, and a kick-off stock which isn't actually a kick-off stock. And personally, I feel it makes the gun worse to shoot. Certainly, we're having more pushback coming from the gun under recoil with that kick-off stock.
It was a lot snappier, wasn't it?
Well, the thing is the 1301 Comp Pro doesn't actually use a kick-off stock. So a kick-off stock is got some funky stuff going on in there with pistons and springs and levers and all that.
Yeah.
The kick-off stock on the Comp Pro is literally just two pieces of rubber, sort of between the butt pad.
I thought there was a spring in there.
There's no spring.
Oh, okay.
It's all elastomeric, which also means it changes depending on temperature.
So the overall segue, like even though the speed, the M2 speed, and initial reports of the Nova speed, they seem to be very, very close. What we have also heard is that to make it 100% gun, now for most shooters this isn't going to be an issue, because you know the top 5% of shooters across the world are in a country. That's a very competitive, narrow space to be in. For 95% of shooters, you're not going to get to the point where like a Nova speed or an M2 speed is going to hold you back. But the people going for that top 5%, what we've heard is that the speeds are limited because of the modifications that have been done. It doesn't allow you to do the modifications to make it 100%.
So let's elaborate on that a bit. So when we do a gun for when I've done port jobs in the past with very experienced shooters, they've been very shallow port cuts. It lets you load very, very quickly, just requires a bit more technique and finesse. The M2 and Nova Speed appear to have extremely deep port cuts, which is more what I would suggest for a beginner rather than an advanced shooter. Now, it's not to say you're not going to be able to load very, very quickly with it, and the port cut has some interesting shape to it, so it might still be possible to load it quite quickly. Yuri's certainly loading it very quickly. But yeah, once I've got it in my hands, we'll decide.
So what that then comes on to is what we find with pretty much any division. There's no gun out of the box yet, and you're talking handgun, you're talking shotgun, you're talking rifle. There's and rifle, full bore, mini rifle. There's no out of the box solution, which leaves a whole plethora of decisions and options to be made by competitors and top level shooters.
Very quickly, when we're talking about this gun being 95%, let's talk about what it's lacking in terms of that 5%. There's the two-piece mag tube. Now this is something that Benelli do to save cost, because it's very cheap to make mag tubes this way. They tend to unscrew, so the very first thing you've got to do is take off the mag tube and fix those two bits of mag tube together with some red Loctite or something like that. Make sure they can't move. It will still walk out on you over time, so it's something that's got to be monitored. It's also why they supply it with a barrel clamp, is to stop the tube from unscrewing. Unfortunately, what actually happens is the tube unscrews anyway, and it starts to leave marks and scratching away the anodizing where the clamp sits.
So we're focusing on the shotgun. So we're saying about what is the ultimate practical shotgun. We will get onto the rifle because there's a lot of other. I think shotgun. There's more general consensus of what needs to be done to make it an ultimate gun. With the likes of mini rifle, like Dan's asked the question, which is LVPO. So
if we're going to talk about optics, we're going to be here for a long time.
Is it not an LPVO? Low powered variable optic.
Yeah, but everyone says LVPO, but I understand that it's LPVO. But everyone, whenever you see it on Facebook, it's LVPO.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm missing something here.
Maybe it's a typo.
Maybe it's a typo. Or I'm dyslexic, so maybe I'm reading it wrong.
No, it's low powered variable optic, LPVO.
Low powered, yeah. So basically,
it's not low variable powered optic, is it?
We could have a low variable. So basically the difference between those, what Dan's saying, and we get onto that when we get onto the mini rifle, is having a scope like a 1:6 or 1:10 like the Razer.
We can
HD
talk about
Gen
that for
2,
a very long time.
or going red dot, and that is something that we're still, wouldn't say necessarily struggling with, but still developing.
I'm still not satisfied with my optics setup, so I've been looking, especially this week, actually looking into a variety of options.
We're pausing that and go into the shotgun. So that's where we started. So let's just run through. Like the shotgun's really easy. What do you need to make an ultimate shotgun? Now, again, there's
only one thing you need. There is literally only one thing you need.
What, an Nexus Pro?
No, reliability. If
you can't load it, if you can't pump it, if you can't you know, if it had, what I was going to say is, whilst there's different flavours, different manufacturers, different port cuts, things like that.
So if you gave me a gun that had no port cut on it, I
Yeah.
reckon I could still shoot to 90% of my score.
You mean like a Hatsan?
As long as it worked.
No, I don't mean the Hatsan that you'd like. I mean like a Hatsan Escort.
If it worked,
Yeah.
if it worked 100%, then I don't see any reason why not.
We should do that. That's actually an interesting sort of, you know, look. Is like you set up a stage, you shoot it with the Supernova, your tricked out race gun, and then literally getting out of the box.
The thing
gun.
is, like, a lot of people look at modifications on guns and go, yeah, you know, you're just sort of doing that to make it look good and all that kind of stuff. Well, I mean, getting onto the psychology of aesthetics is one thing, but the primary reason you start modifying a gun for competition is for reliability's sake, right? So, for instance, the revolver, I need to put a lengthened firing pin on that because it's failing to strike all the primers. That's a modification that needs to be made for reliability, and I'll be focusing on that before I make any other modifications to the gun.
But with the shotgun, for me, I would say there are two absolute must you have to do aside from reliability. For me, is port work, quick loading, and consistent loading, because it's all well and good being quick and being able to do ridiculous drill times in your bedroom or your living room.
Let me just make a point that you've made several times in the past. You can beat a lot of Section 1 shooters
With a Section 2.
with a Section 2.
Because I load fast with the Section 2.
It's not just about loading though, it's about stagecraft and everything. Like stagecraft is probably more important than your technical gun handling. As long as you can point the gun and hit what you're pointing at.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, lack of top ups, you know, lack of misses.
I mean, Paul, weigh in here.
I mean, stage planning is very, very important.
Yeah.
Especially at the higher levels. Like if you turn around to a course of fire and you can shoot that course of fire in a way that it is 2-3 seconds quicker than everyone else, just because of the way you're shooting it, or maybe there's a shot that you're taking that other people won't take, then you are going to be 2-3 seconds quicker than that person off the bat anyway.
You are, but what are you going to attribute stagecraft versus the equipment?
So I have on video quad loaded guns that are completely unsuitable for quad loading in reasonably respectable times. We've got it several times, like the Armstrong A612.
Yes.
When that has got no port cut on it whatsoever, and I was doing quad loads 80% of the speed that I could load them into my Supernova.
I know, but you're saying 80% of the speed, so over a competition, what are you going to lose?
It may be a second on a stage.
But you catch it on the catch, you catch it on the port, and you end up fluffing a load.
The point is, the modifications are not as key to a competition gun as the reliability is. The primary modifications made to this gun are for reliability first. So things like chopping the pump handle so you don't catch around, shortening
that's
stroke.
But that's on the very same point as the port work, which is it's not the reliability and the function of the gun, it's the consistency of loading.
But once you get past reliability, then you're into eking out
If you
eking out
have a gun
marginal
that doesn't
gains.
work,
Yeah, marginal gains, but it's like, so one of the things I was going to say was an extension tube. You can't go into a competition without an extended magazine tube.
But I thought you always beat people with Section 1s with your Section 2.
I do.
This
You're not going to get up
I'm
to
trying
80.
to make. You don't need to buy anything. Get off my website. Go practice.
Yes, practice
get
always
familiar
beats.
with your kit.
No,
I know.
go shoot matches.
But we're looking at it like this. We're specifically looking at the gun.
Okay.
Like this, like the whole thing of the live stream.
Just everyone, very quickly. No, I will not shave my beard for 50 likes. Go away.
250 likes on the other hand.
No, I will not be shaving my beard. I will shave Callum's beard.
We're not talking like I think we're all in agreement that I'll give it a trim. We're all in agreement that practice and stagecraft and the shooter has more of a difference.
But the point was, when it comes to the gun, the number one thing before anything else is it's got to be reliable.
Okay.
It's got to go bang every single time.
The new competition pistols I've just built, the main reason behind them is reliability.
Yeah.
I could shoot an Armour Works out of the box and be just as good. Well, the problem is I break them.
This is the issue that I was having with the M3000 that I was using. Reliability.
That gun, okay, there you go. That gun is raced to the nines.
Yes, and it doesn't matter a single bit if it doesn't work. So reliability aside,
once you've got the reliability down,
yep.
Then you start getting into I say marginal gains. Some are a lot less marginal than others, such as extended mag tube port work. Those are like the first things you do to a shotgun at the very least.
Absolutely. So we recommend 10 or 12 capacity. So you run a 10 total capacity.
Yes.
So
I find it holding me up in places. I find it speeding me up in places. That's just there's a compromise there. No compromise.
Extended chokes. It's not vital.
It's right. What people seem to forget all the time. The only reason you run extended chokes is so you can screw them in and out with your fingers. It's not about better patterns, because quite frankly, in all the patterning testing that I've done, there have been very, very little difference between an extended choke and a...
And what you find is actually it's the consistency of the cartridge. So it's all well and good having the most precise choke in the world, giving the best pattern, if there are potential flyers in the cartridge.
I'll tell you what though, just very quick tangent on chokes. One thing I have found that makes a significant difference to flyers from a choke was whether or not the choke has cuts in the end for a choke key.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a different. It's more surface. It's more edges, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's things for pellets to catch on, and because the pellets are trying to push outwards as well as forwards.
Of course, that's where the importance of a extended choke comes in, because you can't. If you have a flush choke, then you need to have a key.
Yes, exactly.
So all the open pieces are fucked. Oh, we got one.
Got one.
If you heard that, there's a fly zapper in the background.
We got infested today.
But it used to be, where we used to be, it was above Connor's desk. And the amount of times I ended up in tears, because no matter how many times it went off, it always scared the shit out of you.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. If anyone knows me, when I get startled, I sort of cycle mid-air.
Yes. So in terms of shotgun, yes, reliability, we say the tube and the port work, so you want to be able to load it, you want the capacity to be able to freely do a stage in a Section 1 gun. But other components. People
asking here, like, so money no object, what would be a good Section 1 gun to buy then out the box? M2 speed.
Well, what division?
Well, if you want to shoot standard and modified, M2 speed. If you want to shoot open,
but
M2 speed.
But, okay.
No, if you want to shoot open, then you're talking about arms guns or dissidents.
It's hard to say, because we haven't had an M2 speed in for like proper dissection.
I've shot the M2 speed, and I've got some experience.
So M2 speed or a fully raced out M2 field? Because we're talking money no object here.
Money no object. I'd probably take the field. I'd take the field.
You take an M2 field, you chuck some money in the gun at Connor's, and then before you know it, beautiful race gun.
Well, this is something we've talked about in the past as well. So the thing is, the question here was out of the box. What is a good Section 1 gun to buy out of the box? M2 speed.
Buy a custom one.
Or buy a custom gun. But if you know, you give me an M2 field and the money it takes to make it what I think is as good as it should be, you're probably still spending less than an M2 speed. Actually no, pass, because it's skewed, because there's a lot of M2 fields available second hand for like 700-800 quid. Brand new, they're not far off the price of a speed, so you probably are better off buying the speed.
And so trying to finish off on what makes the I will get there. So in terms of modifications, there's been you've obviously got the short action bars on there.
Yep.
That's reliability as well, because it's anti-surge.
It's mostly the reliability. You have to change the timing of the gun completely.
You've made various changes to the catch and bolt mechanism.
The trigger has got some custom parts in there as well.
The custom parts, there's the trigger.
There comes a point when you're modifying a gun for competition that there's no longer stuff you can buy to make it better. You have to start making stuff.
Yes.
And something you see from a lot of top level competitors is that they can make the parts that they want in there.
Yeah.
Josh Kenny, fantastic example. I mean, maybe cheating a little bit as he's a gunsmith. He's no longer apprentice. I think he's finished his apprenticeship now.
Okay.
He has actually made quite a few of the parts that go in his gun,
And he's selling them.
He's selling them now. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, there's the internals to it, but in terms of the Gucci add-ons, there's I guess one of the bones of contention upgrade parts.
Shot saver is absolutely useless. Never use it. Never use it.
I think we've
definitely never won me matches.
I think we might have talked about it on the stream before, but quite famously now, there was the British Masters, which was the first level 3 you won.
Yes.
So your first President's Medal,
yes.
your first level 3 win. And in the car on the way up there, Connors is going, I think I'm going to take the shot saver off, because whenever I use it or plan to use it, it never goes to plan. It always ends up costing me time and issues. And then I think on 3 or 4 occasions
four stages.
4 stages, it did its job. It was the shot saver. It saved those stages.
It saved that shot.
Yeah.
It saved that final shot.
And I have video to prove it of him deploying it and then going on to win the match.
I like that word.
You also have videos of him deploying it and whacking himself in the face with
Yeah, where is that video?
I don't remember what we were trying to film, but that was quite good.
I think we were just generally messing about down the road, messing about in the lightest terms, safely, of course.
We were
legally.
not down there to specifically film videos.
No, and I ended up, when you're training, it's always this thing of, you shoot a match at 80-90%, but you train at 100 or even 110%. You want to find where you're going to fail during training. So training a shot saver, you're going to do it faster and quicker than you would in a match, because you're trying to train up to a faster speed, and that's where the mistakes are going to happen.
We have a troll in the chat.
Do we?
Yes, we do. If you scroll up, he is trolling.
Who?
That guy. That guy right there. There.
Oh, Paul
yeah.
G.
No.
No.
Go underneath him. So people find this IPSC stuff boring, apparently.
Do they?
So they've joined a stream saying, "What is the ultimate competition?"
Oh, they're talking about competition guns. Why they use this ugly 3D printed Magload add-ons? Because they make you win.
Yeah, quite literally.
They help you win. A lot of these products are developed by world champions.
How many
actually,
of the,
you know what? Can we get back onto the psychology of aesthetics for a second here?
Okay.
Right? Because people think something looks good because they see other people using it. So all of this stuff, all of the Magload stuff, is designed to function. It's not designed to look good.
I don't know, the green is pretty
people think it looks good because they see other people using it, not because necessarily something looks good or obeys the rule of thirds or anything like that.
Look at motorsport and F1. Mercedes have seen a significant uptick in sales because they are multiple world champions in F1. If people see people on the top step of podiums with specific gear, it's a natural association.
Anyway, forgetting before he goes on to a massive tangent, I don't care if you think it's ugly, because it was never designed to look good in the first place.
Yeah,
it's functional.
Yeah,
it's functional stuff.
Function over form.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or form from function, which is actually, again, bringing it on to a tangent of cars.
Form from function is the psychology of aesthetics.
Yes.
Something that is designed to be. It's why we like carbon fibre, because carbon fibre is used in high performance things, so people associate carbon fibre with good things.
Well, the other approach is with McLaren. They design their cars to function for performance. They don't actually care about aesthetics, because as far as they're concerned, if you make a fast car, it will look fast by design. So and that's the same thing as people say about racy parts. Well, they look racy because they do what they say on the tin, and their aesthetic and look, and the whole. You can go on a tangent about 3D print. A lot of people poo-poo 3D printing. Well, quite frankly, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because mainstream manufacturers like the car industry.
Formula One.
Yes, Formula One.
We have two of the printers that you would use to make Formula One parts.
Formula One parts, but even consumer level cars like BMW and Mini, not necessarily the best examples out there, but they're using 3D printing not in their design and development and research. They're using it as a manufacturing technique. It's no longer rapid prototyping. It is additive manufacturing. It is now as staple as CNC.
We're finding the gap between traditional manufacturing methods and 3D printing getting closer and closer. 3D printing is becoming cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and it's getting to that point where it's going to start taking over, I think.
So, Mochaccino, rule 101 of marketing: if you think you'll look good and do better, you will buy it regardless of the fact. I think I know what you're saying. You're saying if you can market to somebody that it will make you better, they're going to buy it, which that is marketing 101. However, that's not actually, that might seem how it looks, but it's not. It's the results that speak for itself.
Also, the troll was saying he will order a Lantac. Go for it. SF15 is the one to buy.
I actually genuinely
You
recommend.
can also buy a nice, ugly
3D printed
Magload.
Yeah. Which, wasn't all the Lantac users at the recent?
Almost every single one had a Magload mag on it.
There's actually a picture, where I've got to find it now. It was in. Just bear with me. Bear with me.
So anyway, moving swiftly onwards, we are talking a lot about shotgun. That isn't the only type of gun out there. Should have really gotten one of your guns out on the table.
Well, if I'd have known that we were doing this on the stream, I'd have actually bought my new pistol with me.
Have you not got it here?
No, I left it at home.
Okay, all right. We'll have to go and get the Armourer Works from upstairs.
Can't handle it on the stream.
Well, it's the ultimate competition gun, though, isn't it?
Debatable.
But I've got a question.
I shot and won with one for a very, very long time.
If you had that gun and nothing on it broke, would it be the ultimate competition gun?
Not for me.
Not for you, because of the split slide.
Because of the split slide, and also the fact that I am now used to a very grippy slide.
Yeah.
With lots of cuts in it.
Okay.
And to be fair,
they do the hex cut, don't they, on the full slide?
Yeah, they do. Not quite as aggressive as mine, but still very, very good.
This is a excuse the look of it, because this is like a frame before the results come out, right? So this is a still. This is a bit of footage from the recent Lambradich Pro Shoot Firearms level IPSC level 3 mini rifle welter championship. Try and say that 10 times when you're drunk.
Yeah.
But this was it's a really fortuitous shot, because this is in the middle with Magload all over it is Ben Ducker's rifle. Next to it, like closest in shot, is Jim Starley's rifle.
Which is a Lantac SF15.
Lantac SF15, LA SF15, and then in the background of it is Kelvin Leighton's, right? This
MP1522.
This is the podium, right? And this was filmed way before.
Oh yeah, it's accidentally the podium.
It's accidentally the podium, right? So you've got
Ben in the middle.
Ben in the middle, which is where number one would be. You've got runner-up, second place, which would be on the looking at them, the left-hand side of the winner.
Yeah.
And then third place, Kelvin, is where third place would be on a normal podium.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about, function over form, and there's been loads of people that have criticised the look of the Magwell.
I remember when it first came out, I was getting like personal messages of it looks like a ballerina's dress and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, cool. I mean, who was it? Muhammad Ali is a float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and all that kind of stuff. If I can float like a butterfly, I don't care if I'm doing it wearing a tutu or not.
So this is the top three.
Yes. So
finishes.
Ben's. Sorry, I don't think you said. So Jim's using the Lantac, and as David's saying, Ben is using the Caliber Siska.
They are with a CMMG conversion kit, and Kelvin, as you can probably see, is using
1522.
So that is three different variants and fitments of the Magload
Three
Magwell.
completely different guns.
Yeah.
So you've got what is essentially a 223 full bore gun in the middle.
Yeah.
In almost every regard, that thing is heavy. You've got Jim's dedicated 22 SF15, and then you've got the toy gun, the 1522,
Yep.
which up until this year was the gun to get. It was the competition gun,
Yep.
and the only reason it's not is because the guns. There's anything wrong with the gun. The competition has evolved. The actual stages have evolved past the limitations of the gun.
But we've talked about the reason that Ben runs the gun that he does, because he did used to run a 1522.
He uses it because he wants to train for full bore rifle.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to do, because he shot the Rifle Worlds last time, and I think he fully plans to shoot the Rifle Worlds next time. So he's training for that essentially. And if training means taking home a few more President's medals along the way in mini rifle, I'm sure he doesn't mind too much.
Absolutely. So I mean that in terms of behind the scenes, we're always very conscious of not bullshitting people. And actually, as you started off on the stream, you said don't buy anything. Like train, put your money into ammo. If you believe that our stuff will make you faster, then fantastic. All we will do is
I can guarantee it will make you faster, but there's things you can do before buying gear that will be of much greater help to you.
But we will show off the fact that the top 3 finishers in this competition were all using Magload products.
That's the point at which you need to. That's where you need your marginal gains.
Yes, and not even the top 3. Worked out it was the top 15
People.
of the match were all running Magload components. So in terms of marketing, that's
And
the
not
best.
not just
It speaks for itself.
Not just like 80-90%. I might be like going a bit too far here. Potentially 100% of the competitors were using Magload gear in one form or another, whether it was an extended base or just a Magwell or just an ambi Magwell.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was very close to.
Well, no, the 1022s.
Yeah.
There were 1022s in the match that didn't have any.
But now, as you might have seen on there is a new RØDE
that's
product, but
not for mini rifle. It's
No.
made for speed steels. Please don't get those things confused.
I did see
Right,
earlier.
Can we
sorry,
talk
sorry.
about 3D printing, because a lot of people are sort of talking about it.
Yeah.
So, who was it? Where did it start? It started. If 3D printed parts were crap, it would have been found out a long time ago. Yeah. Like there are differences in technologies. The technology we use is SLS, very very expensive, £250,000 machine. It produces extremely high quality parts,
Comparable in strength and performance to injection.
well,
molding.
that's something I want to get onto, because there is a question on that as well. There are forms of 3D printing which are not as suitable, but we still use them for certain parts. So this is FDM. This is the sort of typical hobby level 3D printer, although ours is heavily modified.
Option 3 loader is FDM.
Option 3 loader is FDM. It doesn't need to be impact resistant or heat resistant or anything like that. It just needs to be small, light, and work. The breech flag holders are FDM'd.
Yep.
Again, they need to be small, they need to be
on the
light,
belt.
and they need to work. Yeah,
Yep.
so you've got that on the belt there. And then, so we go on to what is 3D printing superior to injection molding? It depends. For those loaders, absolutely 100%. I physically cannot get the geometry I want for those loaders with injection molding, and there's no better way to prove that because we've just released an injection molded loader.
Which I've got.
And-
It's on top
And
of the shelf.
it
Remove
has.
the ammo from it.
There are features on that loader that I cannot make right.
Yeah.
I have to put draft angles and things in there, and the thing is, there's
But those 2 loaders were designed with very specific purposes and very specific focuses.
if I could have made this
Yeah.
with those straight angles that I wanted it on,
Yeah.
then I would have done.
Yeah.
Because it would have costs
No,
nothing
yeah,
to do
yeah.
it. It's just general shape of the part.
We have
Yeah.
Nexus
Let's-
element.
Put that next to it.
Next element. Will you see it if I pop it there?
You've just killed all the headphone users, by the way.
Oh, fuck 'em.
Rip.
So it really depends. So in terms of design, I can be a lot freer with my design with 3D printing. Of course, it does lead you into some bad habits like thin walls and stuff like that, which just won't translate into a strong part. Those are lessons learned, mistakes made along the way, long before Magload even became anything. Is it stronger? That's another really good question. So
Well, it allows you to do different geometries,
Well,
like you've just been saying, that could be stronger.
yes, but then there's the material behind it as well. It depends what you mean by strong.
Mm-hmm.
Because strong is not a metric. You have toughness, ductility,
or tensile strength,
all hard.
Everything.
Yeah. So an injection molded component is harder but less tough than these. Now the materials they're made from are quite similar, but in an injection molded part you get a grain structure in the part from where it's been injection molded. So you do have a grain like wood. I can't think of the words at the moment. Whereas a 3D printed part is completely isotropic. There are no pockets of concentrated stress because there's hot plastic flowing in one direction against a cold mold and all this kind of stuff. So in certain circumstances, injection molded is stronger. In certain circumstances, 3D printing can be stronger, but we are talking about 3D printing on high-end industrial machines.
Just on that note, I'm trying to find, I saw it ages ago, I probably won't be able to find it now, but I think it was Airbus. It would take me forever to try and find it.
Is this the 3D printed turbine?
No, so it was the wings. And what Airbus figured out was that in 3D printing a wing, they were able to use, and the geometry ended up looking very organic. It looked like, roots of a tree intertwining and connecting each other. But because they were
you're talking about generative design. So this is it's not a new CAD process, but it's something that's someone's only just clicked that, we can take our generative design and 3D print it. How good.
Because 3D printing, there's no restrictions on what geometry you can do. So you can do these most efficient.
These organic. You can do these really organic shapes and things with.
Yes, so you can get more strength for less weight, and in that situation, far better.
Don't be fooled. People look at these things, go, it's computer generated. Generative design does not fucking work like that. There is so much manual mesh, analyze, cut. Mesh, analyze, cut. Mesh, analyze, cut. Is a lot of iteration, and again, 3D printing comes into that. With an FDM printer, you can quickly iterate on a design
and cheaply.
Anyway,
we're gonna. People are getting Alistair getting bored of the engineering talk.
Is he getting bored of us, or is he getting?
No, it's just chat in general.
Just chat.
Can I just very quickly? People talking about resin parts suitable for firearms. I've been there, not found something that works.
Very brittle.
There are some new resins out by Tech that I want to try. I don't have high hopes though, because you either have resins that are acrylic based, which are too brittle, or epoxy based that never really go hard enough. So that's your trade off. People talking about 3D printing for lost wax. Lost wax. There are more efficient ways to lost wax mold stuff than 3D printing. It's a silicon mold that you use to make your cavity in your sand and all that kind of stuff.
So back onto the ultimate competition gun. We've sort of in various segments covered the shotgun, rifle. This is where shall we? 1 minute.
It boils down to the same thing: reliability.
1 minute. It is, but I'm going to answer another question, and I'm going to bring up a screenshot. Whilst I'm doing that, can someone move the Supernova? Because of YouTube and their lovely sensical rules, we can't handle the guns and firearms. So I'm just going to bring up a web page. Go, remove it. Somebody asked if Paul, Mr. Paul Wyborn, had a YouTube channel. Yes, he does. It is Paul IPSC. If you want to learn more about Action Air, if you want to see one of the best in the world do his thing, then head over to his channel.
I'm pretty quick.
He is pretty quick. Not at putting videos up, I'll add. Your last one was 10 months ago. So
yeah, we'll gloss over that.
We'll gloss over that. But there is a whole plethora of content, and you really can learn a lot from just watching top level shooters.
There's also a video of Alistair up there as well, shooting the world shoot. That one. AAWS World.
Yes. So if you want to learn more about Action Air or learn more about Paul, or just generally stalk him, Paul IPSC.
I also have an Instagram, which I do post on.
And if you ask him nicely, he will send dick pics. I've been told.
Can I just comment?
By who?
On 3D printing, someone's talking about carbon fibre 3D printing.
Oh, don't even.
Like-
No, you're not even getting started.
Okay.
You're not doing it.
It has its place, but it's not what people think. It doesn't replace SLS.
It's a buzzword. It's things like
Oh yeah.
aircraft grade aluminium,
Yeah.
carbon fibre, titanium. When people
Tool
start
steel.
when people start hearing all of those,
Or forged.
it's like, oh, that sounds expensive.
Or forged billet, and then you have this beautiful CNC machine part. Well, it doesn't matter if you fucking forged the billet because you just cut all that stuff away.
But yeah, don't get him started on carbon fibre 3D printers.
Yeah.
So moving away from the shotgun rifle, this is where I think there is going to be far more debate and opinion in what is.
And actually, something else I will caveat: we don't know a lot about compared to what we know about shotgun.
Yeah.
Compared to how much we know about shotgun, mini rifle especially, and rifle in general, is we don't know anywhere near as much.
Mm-hmm.
We still know quite a bit.
Yeah.
But this is new ground to us, which means there's a lot of experimentation still happening.
Newer ground. Don't forget
newer
that. Like
ground, okay.
the magwells and the safeties are a good 2 or 3 years old now.
Yeah, and obviously we've been shooting a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a lot of new ground being broken here, just trying to find out what works and what doesn't. And one of those things is optic setups.
So optic setup is going to be the number one discussion point when it comes to what makes up the ultimate gun. But I also find with rifle, certainly with the AR-15 platform, it is like Lego, which gives you a lot more customization, a lot more options. So like, we're talking about the Supernova. Well, one of we didn't even get onto it because it's not a modification or an upgrade. The stock, the Comfortex stock, you don't need to do maybe apart from round the corners of a butt pad.
Those stocks are pretty damn good.
Okay, but it is what it is. Yes, you can go and get an aftermarket stock and put it on a Supernova. Why you would do that, I don't know.
The Comfortex stock is not about recoil reduction.
No,
it's about keeping the muzzle flat. Because what the Comfortex stock does is it sort of kicks the gun down and back, and that's what makes it so good. That's why the kickoff stock and everything else that comes after it is just not in the same ballpark.
But with the AR-15 being so modular, like things like the grip, the stock, the handguard, and even the receiver, what receiver set you're going to go for it, and what actual gun you're going to make it into. So a lot more to choose from. And actually, I think there's a lot more that isn't wrong or right. It's down to the shooter. So like grip width,
so personal.
Grip angle.
I don't like that grip.
Yeah,
it's too wide.
Yeah, and
yep.
A grip is not going to win or lose you.
It could do. Grip is very important.
The grip can actually lose you a match, but it's not going to win you a match.
On rifle, I think less so.
Well,
it's about comfort and familiarity with your own
It's not
kit.
just about that. It's about slipping.
And slipping,
you've got to think about different weather. Again, this is why we're making stuff, is because there are issues to be addressed, but that's like an incredible marginal gain. Like if you're buying a grip for reliability's sake, as in the gun not slipping out your hand, you are eking out.
If the grip is so big that you can't get your finger on the trigger, then yes, that's quite a serious flaw.
Or if the grip is so small that you can't get a good
purchase, yes.
Purchase in the first place.
There's a ballpark figure, and I actually prefer despite my tiny little girl hands, I prefer chunkier grips. It just feels more ergonomic for me. With your stock, again, I don't think you can ever tell somebody what the right stock is to use, because
quite frankly, on an AR, I think the stock is one of the things that matters the least.
Yeah.
The one requirement I have for a stock is that it doesn't wobble side to side.
So that's the one thing that immediately when I first bought the 1522, the first thing that I needed to rip off of that was the mil-spec stock, because it sounds like a rattle can with it. You go and spend 30 or 40 quid on a Magpul one. Again, which Magpul one? That's completely down to you. I don't think there's a wrong or right choice unless you're Daniel Smerald and you go and buy the 300-400 quid one on it.
Well, it doesn't matter because that was the right choice for him at the time.
Daniel never makes the right choice.
Daniel makes choices.
Anyway, love you, Daniel.
No, but that was the right thing. I have to be really nice to Daniel, because if it wasn't for him, I would never have gotten out of the Welsh Mini Rifle match.
We need to put that tyre on like permanent display.
Well, no, not permanent display, because he needs it back.
Yeah.
Basically,
Connors might need it again.
He's going to be phoning you up at 2 o'clock in the morning somewhere in the arse end of Wales, going, I need someone to bring me my spare tyre. I'm stuck.
Long story short, had a flat tyre at the top of the mountain at Wales. So I took an Audi TT up a mountain. Enough said. And
It's a rally car.
It's a rally car, innit? And Dan got us out of a pickle by lending us his Space Saver wheel, which was far too big for the car, so we were driving back like this.
Yeah.
But it got us home, so I am eternally grateful for that.
Back onto the stock, the whole thing with the wobble is it's not an aesthetic thing, it's not a feel thing, it's not about making it feel more premium.
Moving.
If you're on your gun and you're on a target and your stock is moving, you're going to be all over the place. You need it to be firm and steady in the shoulder.
First thing I did with this stock is actually print a little chip to go in there just to take up the slack. I mean, people go, "Oh, your stock's really stiff." I'm like, "Yeah, it's supposed to be." So I think some of the questions we're getting asked are questions we see all the time. What rifle should I buy for mini rifle? I'm going to buy a 15-22. Well, it's cheap, it's good, and it will take you 80% of the way there.
Absolutely, but there is a growing discussion, I think, mainly fueled by us.
No, not fueled by us. It's fueled by evolving competition. So the 15-22 has been great. For the longest time, mini rifle wasn't really shot past about 25 yards.
Yep.
Right? So you didn't think about what I'm about to talk about. People would use micro targets to simulate distance and all that sort of thing. With more graded matches like level 2s and level 3s coming up, can't use the micro target, you've got to be using mini, so people have started pushing out to distance. Now at distance, the 15-22 has a unfixable flaw, which is handguard / barrel flex.
Yep.
The receiver is plastic. If you put pressure on the handguard, it will flex. Now, the best thing to do to avoid that is use a stock handguard. Use our handguard, which is designed to interface exactly like the stock one. Any converter nut you have to put on a 15-22 will ruin it. Like we're talking about 12 inches of deviation at 50 yards.
Well, Ben was saying about there was one match where I don't think he had actually tested it at that, so it was like one of the first like proper long range mini rifle matches, braced his gun or went onto a bipod, and he said he was shooting completely over the top of the target. Got another one.
The door's closed, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's getting the ones
it's right,
that
there'll be none in
out
tomorrow.
Yeah,
it'll be good.
But yeah, so he found that there was massive flex. I think that's also part of the reason that he went solely over to the Siskar.
Anyway, because of that, people are now moving to metal receiver guns for mini rifle. There are a lot of bad metal receiver guns out there. There's the. We're not going to go into like bad mouthing other brands, but there are certainly guns to avoid.
This is the English shooting stream. That's all we do.
Guns not to avoid and to consider are things. Chris Defiance, I think I'd put at the bottom of my list, but I would put it on the list. It will wear out quicker than anything else.
I think there's so many options that you don't even have to consider the Chris. There's so many other options.
What other options are there? You have a Siskar.
You
have an SF-15.
Yes.
And you have
a Raven. Whilst I think the Ravens are overpriced for what they are.
This is what I'm thinking about is price-wise. You're all talking about £1,000 plus guns.
Okay.
15-22 is a £600 gun, right?
Let's take money out of it for a sec, because remember that the Chris is still a it's an 11 to £1,200 gun. The Chris Defiance, right? So it's still up there.
Okay, actually, one of these is probably cheaper then. Not like this.
No. But you've got the 15-22. You've got the Lantac LAS 15. You've got the Lantac Raven. Personally, I would say save your money and go for the LAS 15. You've got the L119 from Otto at Cotswold Classic Arms. You've got the Battle Arms from Otto at Cotswold Classic Arms, and you have the Siskar from Caliber Innovations. What's that? That's 6.
Yeah.
Right.
So
why would you add the Chris on?
Everything there, except for the 15-22, is a 223 with a CMMG conversion.
Is that an issue?
No, but that's to show you where things are.
Yep.
Everything is basically the same gun. What it comes down to is who built it. And so there are very, very few people who even understand that these 2-2 conversion kits need to be tuned into the gun. Otto is one of those people, and he does an absolutely fantastic job of it.
He's a wizard.
He's a wizard. Lantac tune the CMMG kits to the barrels if you get a dedicated 2-2.
And they have a lot of experience.
Like a lot of experience
to their credit, and I don't give Lantac that much credit very often, but they were the UK CMMG importers and distributors before they started solely making their own guns. So they've had a hell of a lot of experience over a number of years with the CMMG rifles and kits. And everyone thinks that we say that the AR-15 is like Lego, and for all intents and purposes it is. But a lot of people get the misconception that you can just chuck on a barrel, chuck in a bolt, and go. You can't. It needs tuning. It needs fettling. It needs a gunsmith. Yeah. And that's what Otto does. That's what Landtac do. Landtac do it, I think, on a far bigger manufacturing scale.
The thing is, it can be done in volume manufacture, as Landtac show. Otto just does it by hand, which I think is probably what gives him the edge. Not because he's doing it any better necessarily, but he can tune it to any quirks going on with the gun.
Yes. Manufacturing tolerances in everything.
The difference is Otto is taking parts from all over the world and putting them together into a gun. Landtac are controlling the dimensions of every single component, because they're making the whole thing. I think bar the barrel, I think they get barrel blanks, but then it's just a blank, they do everything else on it.
So someone asked, what handguard is this? This is actually a prototype. It's pretty much final form, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just been testing. We've just been trying to break it.
So it's a Magload. I'll go and grab the 1522.
So this is with the 1522 handguard.
But they're dirty.
You're dirty.
This one's not finished. It's going out to a customer shortly.
No, I've got an unbuilt one.
But that one's dirty as well.
You're dirty.
So the 1522 handguard has been out for ages. The main thing with it was I wanted this size for the carbon tube. Or for the tube, it didn't have to be carbon, but it ended up being carbon. And then it had to be lightweight, which is why I went with carbon. And then everything else was designed after that. So it is very much function over form. I want this ergonomic size, etc., etc. Now,
should I do that again?
Yeah.
It just feels right in the hand, doesn't it?
Yeah,
just feels right in the hand.
Do you want to get on there as well?
Yeah, you've got to get that right diameter. Have you lick tested the battle arms yet?
Yes.
Oh, you did that in your own time, I'm guessing.
It was dirty.
Naked, covered in Magload.
So then I had a challenge. I wanted this ergonomic size.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. I know what you were thinking. No.
I wanted this ergonomic size on an AR-15. Not possible because of the gas tube. So that's why you see people with like massive handguards if they want a round handguard, which is not ergonomic. So what I've done is this extension of Picatinny rail is not there to give you more Picatinny rail, and it's certainly not there to look good. It's there to hide where the gas tube would come out and down. Now, obviously, being in the UK, it's very hard to test, and considering for export I'd have to make custom gas tubes, we're a long way off of shipping something compatible with a semi-auto, I think.
But what you did this more for was for the 2.2 converted mil-spec AR-15s.
No, I did it because I needed a handguard for my battle arms.
Yeah, which is a 2.2 converted mil-spec.
I didn't do it for you guys. I did it for me.
He didn't do it to make. You've had to force him to.
You do realise that there's somebody that has contacted us about 5 times now. It's like every month or two going, when are you releasing the mil-spec handguard?
Yeah.
So it will be absolutely. It is a Magload.
Someone's
handguard.
asking about Spike's Tactical. It kind of just it's too much proprietary stuff going on. They were good back in the day, but the proprietary mags kill it, I think. The thing is, all of these 2.2 CMG converted guns are all running a better mag adapter, 1522 magazines, and they have their own problems, but they are still the best mini rifle magazines out there. So
getting on to what makes the ultimate gun, obviously reliability. So if you go and get an LASF 15, a 1522, or anything made by Otto at Cotswolds, or Callum Innovations, a Syscar, it's going to come out of the box running and working. So you don't have to worry about that. So let's not get hung up on reliability. We've talked about the grip, we've talked about the stock.
There is something to talk about reliability, because we've told you all the guns you could go out and get.
Yeah.
Because they're reliable.
Yeah.
The 1522 was the gun of choice purely for reliability.
Yeah. Nothing could really come close to it.
Nothing still comes close to it, because the CMG system in its stock form is not even close to as good as a 1522 in terms of longevity. It will see you through a match, it will see you through a few matches, but firing pins will start to break, springs will start to break.
Well, I made the video on the 1522, the one that I bought 5-6 years ago. probably even longer now, I think like 8 years ago. You know, well over 30,000 rounds put through it, original extractor, original firing pin. The only times I've had issues with it is when I've changed parts out, when I've put upgrade parts into it.
Well, yeah, that's because you can't work on guns anymore.
You did it.
No, I didn't.
You came in and fixed all my issues, and I was still having issues. You took my issues out.
No. That was when you were using that imported firing pin, wasn't it?
Was it imported?
It was imported from America.
Okay. But it was an upgrade, you know, reliable firing pin.
Funny thing, do you know what that firing pin was made of?
Titanium? Yeah. So anyway, the 1522 has been absolutely phenomenal. But the battle arms is emerging as a potential choice of the top level shooters. I know Tom, who's...
It's not necessarily the battle arms. I think battle arms, because of you pushing it. The battle arms,
push it for a reason.
So actually, we had this discussion in Discord last night, and I just pointed out to people, the battle arms is just a receiver set. It is my favourite receiver set.
It's bloody sexy.
It is, it is sexy, and
those cuts.
And okay, it's a very nice, but it is just a receiver set.
But it's a specifically light receiver set.
Yes, which is why I went for it. The thing is, the L119 from Otto is identical in performance.
But it is heavier.
It's heavier. But that's it. That is it. Like, unless you're like me and you're changing out parts constantly, you won't see a difference. So one of the things I like about the battle arms is where you'd usually have a roll pin, they'll have a screw, a custom-made screw to go in there. So I can chop and change parts constantly without having to drift pins in and out all the time. So this is not the ambi, this is the lightweight. I believe you're going to be commissioning an ambi from Otto because you want the ambi. I went for the lightweight because I wanted to shave the weight. That was my primary reason for going for this. Shooting gallery is not comparable to mini rifle. That's apples and oranges. Tell that to Tom Edaway.
Tell that to Jim Starley.
Tell that to Jim Starley. I think, whilst I've not shot much gallery myself, I think gallery is very much building similar skills to what you'll need to shoot mini rifle.
So I'm attempting to answer a question.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of parts on the battle arms, but the battle arms is not. It's not here because it's a battle arms. It's here because it's a CMMG converted AR, and that is what competition has gravitated towards now. Everyone is using a CMMG converted AR-15 in one form or another.
So someone was asking, we seem to do this every single week, people still ask, FAC update, what's going on with my FAC? Do I need to say more? And just to add, because the photo I put on last week wasn't high quality enough, but there we go. That's just, it's until that number plate changes, it's nothing's changed. That will be this. You know, everyone will come here and look for the number plate, see if it's changed. To be honest, even when I do get my FAC back, I'll probably still keep the plate. You know, just it's sort of become. I've embraced it. I've embraced the no FAC. So yeah, so receivers, much of a muchness. It really is down to personal preference. Triggers.
Trigger.
Right. I'm just going to say this is probably the most concise way to do it. Triggers are just like the receiver sets.
No. Triggers need
personal preference.
No, there are things that triggers must have.
There's things that receiver set must have.
Well, receiver sets all have those things. The holes for the parts to go in. There are two things that a trigger needs to have to be good. To be usable. It needs to be light enough that you don't pull it off target whilst you're trying to pull the trigger. You know, that can still be quite a heavy trigger, like the stock 1522 trigger is a heavy trigger, but it's still light enough that it won't pull you off target while you're pulling it. Secondly, it needs to have a consistent break. Doesn't matter how much creep there is going on there, it just needs to be consistent.
My point is, there's many manufacturers that make triggers that tick all of those boxes, and it will come down to personal preference.
Oh, and Kalite, it does have the postcode of the plate manufacturer. These are fully legal plates.
They are 100%. I
If you
am
bring- if
not
you-
giving the police any
No,
reason
if
to,
you bring up
pull me over.
bring up the photo again, we can show them exactly where.
It's on the bottom right. It's not in the middle where
Yeah.
they would usually be.
Oh, now I've got to find it. It's in my download somewhere.
It'll be right at the top, won't it?
It will, but there we go.
So we'll show you this again.
To be fair, you might not be able to, because it is faint on the plate.
It is.
It's faint in the photo, but it's there. There it is, right
Yeah.
there. So if we show that,
There we go. Completely legal
that is
plate.
100% legal plate. So there you go.
And it is just the best plate in the world. Just
No.
No, mine's the best plate in the
You
world.
see, I think mine is.
No, mine's the best plate in the world.
oh,
It's fun. It's funny. We've all got white cars. We've all got personalised number plates. It's great. It's great.
I will just point out that was the first. I was the first with a white car. I sort of
You-
set that trend
you
going.
You did. I got a white car because I like the white of the Civic, and then you got some shitty little Beetle after. So
So
what
moving
else is going on here?
So from triggers,
Triggers.
we
Yep.
can't talk about rifles without talking about optics, and this is where things get brutal in discussions.
So the one thing I can say is if you're watching this because you want to know our opinions on guns, that means you haven't bought a gun yet. Which means I can reasonably infer that you're not shooting to what you would consider a extremely advanced level. So, if you are starting out in mini rifle, you should get a low-powered variable optic, a 1:6 or 1:8, something like that, and start there, because it will see you through everything. It will get you to the point where you can find what you like, because if you can put it down to 1 times, you can decide if you like shooting on with no magnification. If you put it up to 8 times or 10 times or whatever you've got, you can decide if you like shooting at higher magnifications. Then you can make an informed choice about
And
what you like.
Whilst people, it's all relative. What some people consider a cheap, others don't. But the number one recommendation still for a a beginner first time scope is the Viper PST Gen 2.
It is good. However, I just want to throw this out there.
Yeah. The Crossfires.
Not
Spitfires.
even that. I've been looking at the Vector optics recently,
Yes.
and
Vector,
there is
yeah.
the Vector Constantine. Great name, if I do say so myself.
You just got to buy it just for that.
It's great. I've had a look through it. It's not the best optic in the world. However, it's extremely cheap, and it does everything you need it to do. And I would have no bones about going into a level 3 match with one of those on top of my gun. I think David's in chat. David, if you wouldn't mind posting the price of the Vector Optics Constantine, I think people will then understand why I'm talking about it.
But from I think I've looked through one in a car park, and from my experience, the PST Gen 2, like it's a Razor HD.
But the thing is, it's like the PST. How much is the PST? Like 850, £900?
No, I think it's more like 600-700 quid.
Okay.
So it is an expensive optic.
Yeah, but the thing is,
not compared to the Razor.
If you've bought yourself a 1522, you're spending more than the gun cost on the optic, which is fine. But if you don't know what you want yet,
no,
it's a very cheap way to find out what you want.
And then going away from the low-powered variable optics, you go dots. And
okay, so obsessing over this the last couple of weeks.
Well, I've made various videos over the last year about trying to find a replacement for the HD.
A red dot primary is what we're running here. Now this is only got a red dot, but I'll explain what the red dot primary is all about, because this is something I've gotten from talking to a guy called Mike Shue, put the idea in my head because he was running this setup. But I prefer a dot because I prefer the unclutteredness of it. I have a very small dot on there, so I can turn the brightness down for a very small precise dot, turn the brightness up for get more glaring, essentially get a bigger dot, which is great for closer up targets. Now that dot I was shooting at the mini rifle match out to 100 odd yards with it and had no issues, but that's down to your eyesight. What Mike Shue did, and what I'm now interested in exploring myself as well, is actually having a prism scope at 45 degrees. Now this is very personal preference, and it's a very unorthodox setup. The most common setup you're going to see people running, LPVO on the top, red dot on the 45.
But you say unorthodox. The thing is, if you get into the mindset that nobody else is doing this, that looks really odd, it will never work.
I wouldn't be here.
Well, you wouldn't be here, but also that's where people find the advantages that nobody else has, is by doing something different. And again, like, I'm always comparing motorsports and F1. That's because I'm a big F1 fan. But that's what happens when teams seem to dominate. Look at Braun in 2009. They did something that nobody else did with the double diffuser. Did they, I'm sure there was the questions of, no one else is doing this, we're the only one with this, is it right? Until the very first testing, and they were miles ahead of their competition. So that's what we're all about, and that's why I've been, over the last year or two, being on this quest of finding a replacement for the HD. I think it's well accepted.
There isn't a replacement for the HD.
There isn't. It's well accepted that the Razer HD Gen 2 or Gen 3 is the ultimate primary optic for mini rifle or full bore. But what we're trying to do is find something that nobody else has.
Not because no one else has found it, but because these setups that everyone else is the setups that everyone is currently running are rifle setups. Yeah. We are not shooting rifle. We are shooting mini rifle.
Yeah.
We don't have the recoil to deal with. We don't have the distance to deal with. Therefore, there are other choices out there.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to talk too much about the primary red dot and secondary telescopic optic, because that's, I'm still exploring that. I don't know enough to explain it to you.
So yeah, but again, it's going to, with rifle, yet again, in terms of finding the ultimate setup, the ultimate competition gun, it's going to massively come down to your personal preference. There are going to be people that scream at you that say, for mini rifle you should be only using a dot, you should only be using a low powered variable optic. And again, there'll be people screaming at you which specific models and brands to buy. You unfortunately, and it can be quite hard, you need to get behind them. I would take people's advice, but you really need to try them out for yourself. Daniel,
I think, all right, if anyone's into building their own computers and stuff, there's a saying when it comes to graphic cards, right? Buy the best you can afford, because there will always be something better, and there'll always be something more expensive.
Yeah, but with graphic cards, it's a very level, not a level playing field in performance, but you are comparing all the different performances. You've got the same benchmarks.
Just shoot irons.
No, you don't. You have everything from really crap to really good.
No,
everything in between, and new things coming out every month. And that's my point with optics.
No, but what I mean is they all do the same job in the same way.
And an optic does the same job in the same way. You look through it and
red dot, low variable optic.
Same thing with
reflex.
Graphics cards. It is the same thing with graphics cards. This is why it's such a good analogy, so shut up.
No, a graphics card does the same job. It does the same thing. You bulk it in, but what you're looking for is measurable performance between two different things.
I do get what you're saying. You're still wrong, but I understand what you're trying to say.
It does still boil down to personal preference.
Anyway,
it does, because some people will get on better with, say, a reflex sight versus a holographic. Yeah. Some people won't be able to use a red dot.
The biggest concern to me, right, not being able to use a red dot, the biggest thing you need to find out very early on is whether or not you have an astigmatism that prevents you from using a red dot. Some people who have astigmatism have a very slight astigmatism like myself, so my red dot has a little tail coming out of it when I look at it, perfectly usable still. Some people will see a blurry mess. Some people will see multiple red dots, so you need to look through a reflex red dot first. Holographic red dot, completely different story. I found holographics for myself have no astigmatism aberrations or artifacting on there. Prism sights is another thing to consider, or telescopic optics.
That's what I mean. You don't have that level of choice of different.
But if you get yourself an LPVO, you can find out very, very quickly.
Yes.
Because most of them have an illuminated dot now. You can turn the dot on, You can turn the dot off. You can decide whether you like it 1 times on magnification, yada yada yada.
But still, it is difficult because even buying the cheapest scope, you're looking 200-300 quid. You know, and it can be an expensive, like it can be an expensive pursuit in trying many different optics, and that's
yeah,
what
but you say that, but that's a £600 red dot.
It's still £600.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Is like you can get an LPVO for less than you can.
But you can also buy a 100 quid red dot.
Well, you can, but they're pistol dots.
I know, but this is like, you know, Daniel does put his money where his mouth is, to a certain extent, because he's not scared to go out and buy something that is in some cases frighteningly expensive to give it a go. Unfortunately, not everybody has that option, so this is where club shooting comes in.
Can I address something else? So Kevin Adams said that RØDE Gen 2's 3 doesn't parallax down to short range. So the thing is, parallax doesn't matter at short range, for 1. 2, he's saying it's blurry. Blurry has got nothing to do with parallax. There is an adjustment screw on the back of every telescopic optic, which
it can also be where you position it on the rifle.
Where you position it on the rifle, but you've got, so everyone's eyes are different, and you've got to use that ring on the back to dial that scope into your eye. If you're finding, like, I can look through a razor at a target 3 yards away, and it'd be crisp as anything, because you've got to adjust that ring for yourself, and you've got to adjust it at the point where the scope performs its worst, which is going to be close range.
And I think that's actually a lot of a very good point, is when you're trying other people's optics out and guns out, it's going to be set up for them. You've got to bear that in mind and make sure that the reason you might not like an optic on somebody's rifle is because it's set up for them. Unfortunately, to get it set up for you means completely buggering up their setup, and that's why it's so hard to get out, and really the only way is to go and buy these optics, or ask a company very nicely if you can have a loan model.
I mean, how many optics have I bought to get to this point and I'm still not happy?
Yeah, or you know, myself. You know, I ran an EOTech. That's just wrong. Just don't run an EOTech in competition.
Too big.
The thing is, we looked at the Spectre, the Elkin Spectre.
Yeah.
Like that has a lot going for it.
It does.
A lot going for it. Apart from weight.
So, but we didn't buy that. That was very kindly lent to us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've tried an EOTech. I've tried the original Gen 1 PST. I've tried the Gen 2 PST.
Tried the UH1.
I've shot it. I think it's. I mean, Daniel seems to absolutely love it, and fair dues. I think it's too similar to the EOTech. And
what was your issue with the EOTech?
Just big and bulky. And also, whilst I do love the EOTech reticle, it just covers everything.
Right.
You know, it's a big reticle, and it's, you know, the UH1 and the EOTech.
I'm arguing with Kevin at the moment.
The UH1 and the EOTech, they are combat military optics. They are designed not for They're designed not for shooting at paper, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I mean, technically the MRO the same, but it's got such a small, was it 2 MOA?
This has got a 2 MOA dot on it, but that is not the dot that most people go for.
It's not.
Most people go for the 6 MOA dot.
And we've said for speed steals, it would probably be better having the 6 MOA.
Turn the brightness up.
But you turn it up, but it would probably be better having the 6 MOA, whereas for mini rifle, when you're shooting freehand at 100 yards, that small dot does make a difference. I want to
continue my argument with Kevin because I'm quite enjoying this. POI error at short range is massive for going for real accuracy. If you're shooting at short range in IPSC, you're not going for accuracy.
You're going for
speed. No, it depends.
Rifle. You're not shooting at micros. The smallest target you're shooting at is a mini. If you're shooting at a mini, that's that far away. You've got to hit that. That's your A zone.
No, so I can give you
the A zone's about that.
I can give you a direct comparison. That's right.
But also, that is actually why people would run a secondary dot, would be for short, close range, and for dot acquisition. But it's nothing to do with parallax.
Right. So we're going to watch this stage quickly. And then we've got the results afterwards. Oh, it was Daniel, by the way. So right, these are full size. This is, you are up close and personal. Some, that's not even long range.
Those are about 25 yards, right. The longer range targets.
Let's review it. And although you don't have the alphas and you don't have the actual scores, so I shot it all alphas. So it was 10 5 targets, so 10 possible alphas. So yeah, 10 alphas, maximum points on the target, right? Ben dropped, I think he picked up 2 or 3 Charlies.
It was more
Right.
than that, but it's the speed.
But it's the speed. Look at the speed difference. And actually you can see, it's not always, if you watch this whole video, and I recommend you do, you can see that there is a correlation with time, right? It is the time on this stage that is ultimately dictating the order.
This is where rifle and pistol and everything else gets more complicated than
Because you're
shotgun.
shooting for factor
You're
rather
shooting for
than
factor rather
just
than
time.
Yeah.
Shotgun, you are shooting for time because every plate is an A.
Slug.
Slug, you're shooting for hit factor.
Well, yes. So slug, you're shooting for hit factor. Buckshot, you're shooting for hit factor. Everything else is just a speed game. But that stage specifically with close-up targets, it was won by time. Accuracy made very little difference overall.
But at the same time, if you had a shorter course of fire,
Yep.
that was like a 3-second course of fire. If you drop 2 Charlies on that, you're going to be nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
So funny enough,
And that's where the
That's
kicker
where you're
comes
shooting for hit factor, and that's why shooting for hit factor can be a very challenging thing.
Because
For
sometimes you're
Yeah.
shooting for speed, sometimes you're shooting for accuracy, sometimes you want to keep both.
yes.
My opinion is you should be accurate first because the speed will come in time.
Exactly.
But
But don't
I
hunt
take
for
a
the
very different
alphas.
approach.
don't hunt for the alphas, which is actually where I lose a lot of time. Is like slowing down for alphas
And
Or
I think
topping
that's
up.
something that Ben.
or topping up Charlies to alphas. Yeah, that is probably
I-
my greatest sin is topping up Charlies for alphas.
And I think that's where a lot of Ben's skill comes in. Not just that he's a quick, accurate shooter, but he knows, and I guess Paul is as well. You'll be able to read a stage and go, what sort of stage is this? A speed stage or is it an accuracy stage? And it's never 100% one or the other. You still need to have some accuracy and you still need to have some speed, depending on the weighting.
Yeah, because a miss will cost you no matter what.
But
Well, it's like if you got a medium course and it
Yeah.
was a 10-second course of fire, you know, from that you can probably drop at maximum about 4 Charlies,
But
depending
it's,
on how
it's
it is.
knowing that balance, not even just knowing whether it's a weighted speed or a weighted. It's about knowing the balance. Like, where is the sweet spot of this stage? Where is the sweet spot between
The
speed and accuracy?
I think it's very easy to overthink a stage like that, trying to think about what's the sweet spot, how many alphas or how many Charlies can. So a lot of good shooters that I shoot with think about how many misses or things can I mess up on this stage, whereas I go into that stage and think I'm hitting everything with one shot.
It's like shooting no shoots.
but
If you see a target that's got
Yeah.
a no shoot on it and you think don't hit the white one,
you miss.
then you're gonna hit the no shoot.
So a really
if you
good
think
example.
that's
I
a
do the
difficult target,
opposite.
It does the
and,
opposite.
and you
So
aim for the target.
So there were a number, and this was actually dropped me down the results considerably. I lost about, I think it was 45, 60 points on that competition, because there was one stage and it had a full-size no-shoot.
Oh well,
and then,
Hangs in the chat. Speed for the win. Well, yeah, of course it is when you're concerned. I've never seen a guy move so quickly.
but it had the very top of a full-size target. And the thing is, and I did this in the last level 3 mini rifle comp, which is I see the no-shoot and I go, I ain't getting anywhere near it, and I miss over the top of the target.
The trouble is
That's the problem. You're thinking about not hitting the no shoot. You need to
Yes.
think about hitting the
the
target.
target. Yes.
the no shoot is
absolutely.
just another piece of stage furniture.
Yes.
It's just something got to shoot around.
Absolutely. So it's but it's these things, and what I think is, I know exactly what you're saying about getting overcomplicated with trying to get the balance, and can I drop a miss here and hit a no shoot there, and I think again for like 95% of shooters, it's overthinking it. There's far bigger gains to be made in other areas, and what I will likening it to shotgun is chokes, right? And I know you.
Yes.
you
No. What you're
Right.
saying, what you're about to say, is correct.
So and I've always said this from a personal point of view previously, which is I don't understand the gun well enough to start fucking about with chokes. And to new shooters, you know, I'd just say don't worry about it. Put a quarter or half in
Nope.
and just
A
go.
new shooter, you put a half choke in and go. There is
Yeah.
no messing about with quarter or anything else. You put a half choke in and go. I shot my first 2-3 years strictly practical.
No, I don't mean pick between. I
No,
mean like you pick a quarter or you pick a half and then you
no,
learn it.
you
and
don't
go.
pick a quarter. You
Right.
only ever pick the half choke.
Okay.
You only pick the
I
half
think
choke.
I shot everything in the first couple of years of PSG with a quarter.
Yeah, that's why you're crap.
Because that's Masters 2020.
So yeah, you were shooting with a half.
No, I was chopping and changing.
Yeah, but
I'd like the gun.
anyway,
But anyway, you can always always overthink it.
there's a big difference between quarter and a half. Like the differences between chokes are not linear.
Mm.
Half is quite a bit tighter than a quarter is to a cylinder.
But if you learn that one choke,
But you should learn the half.
okay.
You should learn the half choke if you've got to learn anything.
The overall thing.
Listen to the pump Buddha.
For a new shooter, pick a choke, stick with it. Connor says
Pick a
half.
half choke and stick with it.
But
And also,
stick with it.
almost every gun comes with a half choke.
Yeah, but don't as a new shooter in your first match. Like yes, to get into the 90, 95, 100%, you need to be looking at the chokes. Just like to get into the 90, 95, 100%, you need to be weighing up a stage and finding its sweet spot. But when you're just starting out, you know, you want to make it through the match. I mean, what I think we all say to people is if it's your first match, all you need to focus on is not getting DQ'd.
I think that's also an unfair thing to say to people. It's a piece of advice that goes around a lot. You should you focus on not getting DQ'd? No. You should be aware of your trigger finger, you should be aware of your muzzle, but if that's your main focus, you're not going to enjoy the match. You should
Yes, if you're fearful of being
So what
DQ'd,
you should,
but
as a beginner, you should not be trying to emulate what the more advanced shooters are doing. So if they're coming across a stage with their muzzle on the 90, that is something they've trained, something they know. You should definitely turn your gun, take the slower option, and get down that stage. But you know, do your own stage plans that suit your ability level. Don't try and emulate something that someone has got very well practiced, very well dialed in. Like for instance, Florence with that a weak to strong hands change over his head, executed flawlessly, beautiful manoeuvre. I would love to have tried it in a match, but I'm not going to try something, even though I know it's faster. I'm not going to try something I haven't practiced because all it takes is for me to
goes wrong.
hit it, break an angle.
Well, I told him, I said, I'm 100% filming this because it's either going to look slick as anything and then it's going in the video, or you're going to mess it up so badly it won't make it in the video, but we're going to have something to laugh about for a very long time. So either way, I was going to win with getting that on footage. But yes, he did. He pulled it off absolutely beautifully.
Anyway, last little argument for Kevin. Most LPVOs are fixed parallax anyway, so who cares?
Okay, down. You can ignore Kevin now, right?
Yeah.
Now enough about sights.
But that's it. I mean, I think the overall.
Be a man, shoot irons.
You know, but some people may have tuned in to here thinking that we were going to tell you this is the recipe for an ultimate comp gun. It's personal preference.
If we're I think if we're going to tell you this is the recipe for a comp gun, it would have been a video, not a live stream.
Yes,
because
it's a discussion.
This is a discussion. Well, it's basically you saying things that are wrong and me correcting you. But it's a discussion.
But it's
That's
personal
generally
preference.
how discussions go. Let's face it.
And then I'm proven to be right.
Callum
and then,
likes to bullshit and act like he knows what he's on about, and Connor's corrects him.
Yeah.
I know exactly what I'm talking about, but I will defer to more experienced. But this is the thing. This is what we're witnessing here.
Yeah.
It's personal preference. It's how you want to go out and shoot something. And I don't think in competition there are some right and wrong ways to do it.
Ooh, webcam.
Hey, they're back! Yeah, 3 years of
Hot girls and boys.
Any babies?
suits Callum down to the ground.
But no, I think it ultimately comes down to personal preference. What you get on with.
Quality LPVO is fixed parallax.
Right.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Razor HD.
I remember in the first mini rifle match that first proper mini rifle match that I shot in, I was the first one to run a scope, and people took the piss out of me for it, right? But I was like, no, I think ultimately this is going to work better for me, and it did, and I won it.
And now we're shooting dots.
And now we're shooting dots. But it evolves,
And
it changed.
the dot's going to evolve.
And this is why I think you get into such personal attacks in discussions on what you should or shouldn't buy, what you should or shouldn't run, because it's a personal preference. And I think a lot of people do take it very personally when you say, no, that's wrong, right? No, it might be wrong for them. And I think you have to accept that, you know, what you're running on your gun, be that shotgun, handgun, rifle, is not necessarily right for anybody else. You may be the only one that setup is right for. It's for you. So that's why there's always these discussions with ultimate comp guns. But really, it's going and trying things. It's a very expensive method, but that's ultimately what you have to do. You know, so many of the people in this chat I know have had half a dozen optics during their time.
Need to answer Bud's question. What was Bud's question?
Will you guys be selling ammunition when you open the shop? If so, will you be selling shotgun cartridges, as they're hard to find and fairly expensive?
Yes.
SG shotgun cartridges.
What, buckshot?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! I'm getting Gecko in. Can't find it anywhere. I'm just going to buy shitloads of it
or
from
we can
Ruag.
buy the secret sauce.
Yes, if that's available. Yes, we'll be selling quality competition level buckshot ammunition, because I've tried a few and I know what I like. So.
Matt Wyborn. Paul mentioned lasers and action air.
I haven't yet, but
well, if you ask a certain someone, lasers are the way to go for those hip shots, right?
This is the thing. Everyone goes on about optics, but if you can shoot a laser, you'll be bloody quick. But some people won't like you for it.
Why won't they like you?
Because you're being gamey.
Well, it's allowed. It's allowed, isn't it?
That's like saying using a magnified scope as being gaming. Oh, you can see the target more clearly. You're just gaming it.
Yeah, but
that's just standard shooters.
So in action air we
Yeah, sorry Tom. I know Ruag have it. That's why we're waiting for the RFD here, and I will be getting Ruag account, getting it all in here.
So in action air we had a bit of a situation where there was a bit of a divide in the community, because some open shooters decided that they were going to shoot a dot and a laser, because many people will know when you're shooting a pistol, trying to go weak hand with a dot is very, very difficult to find the dot, especially if you're extremely one-eye dominant. With a laser, you can just point it at the target and pull the trigger.
You don't even have to look around a barricade, do you?
Exactly, and it was one of those things that it was night and day and perfectly allowable in the rules. It still is. There's nothing against it, but a lot of people didn't like it because it's just like, well, you know, you're just being gamey, you're
Callum,
just cheating.
this is what you should do.
No.
You should
shoot action air with a red dot.
Shoot a Glock with a laser.
No, sorry, a Glock.
No.
Everyone will hate you on
Callum
so
has
many
no
levels.
reason to shoot a Glock anymore.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. I have a
Glock
gun
is
for
best
you.
gun.
I have a gun for you.
Glock is best gun.
That will work properly.
Master race.
And then you can finally settle the argument that I am still a better shooter than you.
He is. Well,
in action air.
Yes.
Well, no, and in
and speed stills.
and speed stills.
And speed stills.
And a mini rifle.
No,
and
we haven't shot a mini rifle match.
Oh,
That'll change.
that'll change.
And we've shot shotgun. I beat him. I am
Yeah,
king
that
of
was-
section 2.
That was like my first time shooting shotgun.
Don't care.
And the first
Okay.
time I shot speed stills with a rifle, what did I do?
No,
oh yeah,
no,
I beat you
think,
both.
I think
with
that's,
your own gun.
I
No,
think,
I'm
I
still
think that's
kinda
the
sorry
important
about
point.
No, you are supposed to be beating me.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
What about me?
Fuck you.
But yeah, if you want to piss people off in action air, shoot open and use a laser.
Yeah.
Because you'll be a gamey
Oh.
sod and people won't like it.
Mrs. Magload says Paul equals the best.
Thank you.
Oh, I'd watch out, mate. She looks like she's got eyes for another man.
Easy now. down, Tiger.
Don't worry. He can't supply the what is it?
He has small dick.
See,
There was
Daniel
me trying to be subtle.
slightly back on topic. Daniel says slap an O-light on an action air gun and you have a flaming torch for a stage, or just put a tracer unit on, and then you can literally shoot laser beams.
Are they IPSC legal?
It's just a
Tracer-
light.
There's nothing against. It's technically an optical sight,
No, it's
Right.
not. There's no lenses.
Well, there is.
but
Or you
in
just
the action air rules, it could be seen as an optical aiming device,
Well,
which is what's written in the
okay.
Action Air rulebook, because it's electronic and it makes the BBs glow. But yeah, you can literally shoot lasers downrange, which is quite fun.
I just want to clarify my comment on Glock. The reason I say Glock is the best, mainly because it infuriates Paul and secondly infuriates Connors.
I don't get infuriated, but I love it.
I'm not infuriated. I just despise the fact that you never
basically
admit
just
that you're
silent
wrong.
read.
my
admit you're
first action air gun was a Glock
Yep.
18C.
That
was a lot of fun.
So that's the main reason I say Glock is best. The other reason that I recommend people, and this isn't necessarily for Action Air, because in Action Air we can buy any gun we want. You having fun there?
Works better from the other side.
When shooting a Glock 9mm from a UK perspective, you can fly anywhere in the world and find a Glock.
You can fly anywhere in the world and find a 1911 or a CZ.
A
or
1911
anything.
or a 2011.
They're the same style of gun.
And a 9mm?
Yeah, same style of gun. Same.
No.
Right. Yes.
Which gun?
They've been
has
making
the
them
more regular
They've been making them
presentation
for
of grip.
over
A
100
Glock
years.
which is like this, or a 1911 or 2011,
as
which is more
1911,
upright.
2011, CZ.
As
SIG,
someone that
all
has
the same
travelled
grip angle.
around the world shooting at different
Two places.
ranges, I've been all over the States shooting.
That's not the world.
And-
I know the
and
Americans
Prague,
think the States is the
and
world.
Prague and
There's two
Northern
places.
Ireland
3
and
places. That's not all over the world. There's 3 places.
there's more. Netherlands.
Okay, all right. I'll give
Okay,
you.
okay.
I'll give you the all over the world thing.
In every single range, there is always a Glock.
And there's always something with a conventional grip angle.
Yes. That is more comfortable to shoot.
Glocks, you can guarantee you're going to get the same thing at every
The
single
difference
range.
is, in Action Air, Glocks don't work. In real steel, Glocks work a lot
They
better.
do work, yes. And even KC Casabio, he's still still challenge winner. I think multiple time winner. Shoots a Glock. My whole thing about it is it's not that it's necessarily the best handgun. It's that you can train with it over in Nizza because they've got them. You can then fly out anywhere, be that America, out in Europe, out in Australia, whatever. You will be able to pick up a Glock which will feel exactly like the one that you've trained. You can also get an Action Air and shoot Action Air like I have done with a Glock. So it's all very familiar. And what I've said
The
before
difference
as
is
well.
you never win an Action Air.
No,
Because the gun won't work.
and I've seen that and witnessed that firsthand.
So shoot my 2011!
But I will shoot the 2011, but I'm giving more
He's gonna
generalised
convert it into a Glock
advice.
first.
I'm going to change the grip angle and everything. And also, the Glock is much closer to the Walther PPQ, which I still protest. Quality control recently aside.
The grip angle is more like a 2011 on the PPQ.
Yeah, it's a lot closer to a 2011 than it is. It's like 80% of the way to a 2011.
The style of the gun may be
But then
more
it's
similar to the
polymer,
Glock.
it's got the same style trigger and all of this. And altogether, the PPQ feels more like a Glock than it does a 20 or 1911.
So what you're saying is you prefer guns with fewer controls on them because they're simpler?
Yes.
Yes. He probably also
you've
plays bass guitar instead of real guitar because it's got less strings.
No, I played real guitar. Florence plays bass guitar. Just
Yes,
that,
he
right?
does.
Right. But no, the whole thing about less
Can
controls
you get 3-string bass?
is
Yeah, you can.
it's 100% right. Because every single time without fail, when I pick
Can
up
we-
one of your Action Air guns, I forget to take the fucking safety.
So Andy Carlos is asking, are we going to discuss the Rhino? Yeah, it's an out-of-the-box ready competition gun. There you go, buy it.
Ultimate. Oh,
Buy it.
The only thing Magload to that is is it a form grip?
well, it's not even Magload.
It's not
just
even-
Magload
it's-
colour.
it's not even
just
Magload.
Magload colour.
Yeah. Buy a Chiappa, bone stock, go win a match with it. There you go, out-of-the-box competition gun. They are, I love it. I do love it.
The
But-
difference
but
that will
I
make to
love
that
it.
will be your belt, your holster, and your
Yeah.
way of holding your shells.
But if
Can
you're
I-
in
can I
the
just say-
US and you could get a Smith & Wesson and tune it,
686. So
it's the best
probably
LBR
really bad
in
for
the
me.
UK.
I would still probably have a Rhino, but that's got nothing to do with anything that probably makes any sense. Okay, I loved the Matiba Unica 6/8. I love the 6 o'clock barrel and everything about the look of it and the function of it. That's why I would probably still shoot a Rhino.
Alistair must have, when I ditched the Glock, gained 20% match score.
And that was off the bat.
I mean, I was like 40% off of you, so that would put me up like 20%.
You weren't 40.
You weren't 40%.
You weren't 40% off.
You might have been.
Like when he's shooting, second place starts at 75%.
No,
No,
no.
I'm joking.
At the level 1, Alistair
What is
was
it?
96.5%, I think.
It was the
The Grange?
Oh, it was
No.
Grange level 3.
what was it? It was
I'll
called
have it.
something.
I'll have it
I'll
up here.
probably. Oh, I don't know. It was
Change
bloody
that.
ages ago.
Yeah, I know.
I might have it on my channel, to be fair.
I might have the results up here if it went on practice score. KFC.
Just when I find out I was like 20%, but
What's the GR Nats? Don't know. Airsoft Surgeon.
It might have been the British Masters.
no.
It's before the Airsoft Surgeon, long before the Airsoft Surgeon.
Oh, just oh yeah, search
it's,
for your name.
it's not in there.
No, that was Gloucester.
It's not in there.
Yeah, I haven't got a video of that one.
Yeah,
Oh,
so you want me to talk about the Chiappa Rhino? Great gun.
Works.
So there is a lot of politics and controversy around the gun. So there's a chap, I believe his name is Richard Wilson, who spent a long time trying to get a Chiappa Rhino LBP into the UK. As far as I understand it, he's a whiz at racing these guns, really, really good. And then Ray Trade sort of dropped a bomb that they were bringing it all in. I think there was something to do with them working together and something political around that. I don't know the story.
I know roughly the story.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
alright.
I can't probably, like, as far as I understand it.
I don't know enough to say
So
anything to
yeah,
you guys
not
right now.
not confirmed. This is all speculation, but from what I've heard from fairly reliable sources, is that what's the guy's name?
Richard Wilson, I think.
Richard Wilson was the guy that developed the Chiappa Rhino LBR. As far as I'm aware, he put all the work in, got the design down, and got it ready. And Ray Trade came in, went to Chiappa, and were like, "We want to be sole distributors," or they were already Chiappa distributors. And they basically said, "We're going to put in for a huge order with you," which, as a smaller outfit and sort of just gunsmith, not a distributor.
I think he's local.
He is. He's not. I think Chichester. I think he's in Chichester. But basically, as a smaller outfit, you know, he was probably going to buy, 20 to 50 guns in. Ray Trade went in there, and it was like hundreds. Now, Chiappa aren't the largest firearms manufacturer in the world. When someone comes along and wants to buy hundreds of guns from you, like, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go to? So it was, I think, purely a business decision all round. I know from what I've heard that Richard Wilson is quite, he had his nose put out by it, and of course he did all the work as far as I'm aware, and then Ray Trade sort of came in from under it. But it's not a particularly nice thing, but it's that unfortunately is sometimes how business goes. The Chiappa were looking out for themselves. Ray Trade saw an opportunity, and Richard Wilson wasn't able to compete to the same level as Ray Trade.
I'd be pretty pissed if I put that much work into a gun and someone else
Absolutely
took all the credit for it.
Absolutely. And then I think there was maybe some solace in for Richard when the first batch came in and there were issues, which are now all resolved.
This is actually a first batch gun.
Well, not all of the first batches had issues, but there were issues amongst the first batch of guns that came in.
This gun does actually have. This gun does actually have the trigger locking up problem with it. However, you just make sure you're fully getting off the trigger before re-pulling it, which you should really be doing with a revolver anyway. Yeah. Any Hizzle?
I'm still trying to find it.
You probably won't. I don't think. Oh, they might have been posted to practice score. It'll be under Grange Live Gaming, most likely. Oh, the results won't be up there either because they've lost the venue.
Yeah, leave it. I mean, what we talked about. So the Chiappa, I have got things planned for it. The form grip has got a split in it. I'm not too sure whether I'm going to glue that or actually just do a new grip for it.
You'll print one.
Will I though?
Yeah, you will.
I think I do want something that is much more aggressive.
Yeah,
it's
you're going to print one with stippling on it.
I need stippling, and I need something that I've got a positive register on how I've gripped the gun as I drive down onto it. Because the issue is the back of the grip is completely round.
Yeah.
So there is no register into how I've put my hand onto that gun. So I can bring it up, and I've lost the sight.
Yeah. You've already got fibres on it, haven't you?
I've got fibres on it, but that's why I've got my holster at such a funny angle.
Yeah.
So I can drive down because I've got a different register on the top of my hand here, but it's the wrong place to be trying to draw a gun from. So I probably will change the grip to something else. The stock grip's pretty good. I do like that. It's a little thin, but I need some grip on there. I'm undecided whether or not to take this off because really I don't think it makes a huge difference. The sights are staying. I like the sights. You have to Loctite that sight screw, which I need to redo.
Yeah, Paul should learn something from that.
And
I still win comps when my sights fall off.
I didn't
just
say you
put
didn't.
it out there.
I didn't say you didn't, but it still shit you up. Shit!
I probably will do something with the trigger to make it lighter. I don't know enough about the gun yet, so I need to spend some time looking at the internals.
I want to see you try and beat some of Jerry Michelet's records with that thing.
Yeah! It's not going to happen, is it?
Jerry is a legend.
Yes, he is.
Legend.
He is.
He is a legend.
Undoubtedly.
Although I can shoot that fairly fast. I'm not at Jerry's level.
No, but he was like, I think he said he shot like 1 million rounds before he started breaking records. 1 million. We always talk about putting 30, 40, 50,000 rounds for a gun, like 1 million. The time and dedication that takes. And
55% you got.
Did you find it?
Matt found the results.
So I said 40. So I wasn't that far off. So go fuck yourself.
As mid-pack goes, that is like lower mid-pack.
It is. That was my first level 3. Who, if you've got the results, who won out of Connors and I?
He's calling me for some reason. Hello?
I actually think you beat me on that.
Yeah, I'll put you on speaker so you can speak for the whole stream.
I had loads of issues.
Oh, okay. Hold him up here.
You're on speaker.
Why has he gone? What do you want to say?
Doesn't want to be on stream.
Love
you, Matt.
Yeah. So I'm 45% off of you. So if the 20% rule.
Yeah. So you'll
stands,
still be
75%.
Yeah.
Just like
start.
It's middle to upper mid-pack.
It's a start. I can coach you further than that.
But not with a Glock, right?
Not with a Glock. You'd need a proper gun first.
There's definitely some videos there. Like I've said before, like one of the videos.
Oh, he sent a picture of the results. His signal's crap apparently. So, yeah, Callum, you were 55.34%.
You beat me in that much.
Connors was 54.37.
Yeah.
We are always over and under each other.
We're not all. We're not always in anything other than shotgun. That was my first action air match.
Yes, yeah. But what I mean
that was my first time using the gun.
We scarily always end up either just in front or just behind each other.
Clearly I need to coach one of you more than the other.
Well, but based on those results, I think Connors needs the coaching.
I think you both need to.
I will accept that I would like to learn more about.
So when the mez is in, we'll put a range in that corner, yeah?
Oh, the range is going to be here.
Cool.
Yes,
that's fine by me.
Yep.
We will, and I still want to do the video of like plonking an action air shooter into a level 3 pistol match.
Well, we're going to do that.
When we go to Kentucky next year in April,
yep,
we'll do it.
Yeah, we like.
Need to talk to you about that, Kiddle.
Yes.
Me and my dad both want to go. So.
And I think it will be really interesting because there was that video with T-Rex Arms. Not that I want to give him any promotion.
There was the action air shooter who came in and just.
He was an airsofter.
It was an airsoft. Skirmisher.
Skirmisher, but it was like he took like 20 rounds to be like, oh fuck, that's got some recoil, and then he sort of adjusted, and it was like go, he was shooting that thing like, you know, he'd been doing it for years.
It was the same with you. First, when
Well,
you
yeah. So I went out to America on the World Scout Jamboree, and there was like a whole mountain of shooting that you could do. They had like 60 skeet traps up there or something, and they had a whole like dedicated area just for pistol shooting. And I went up there, and you had to shoot the 2.2 first. So I did the 2.2, aced that. Then I went on to the 9mm, which was steel plate. You only had one plate, and you had 10 rounds. So that was really boring, hit every round. I then had to do that again, and then I got onto their plate rack, and I got all 10 plates in all 10 shots pretty quick, and everyone was very, very surprised.
Surprise!
Surprise, motherfucker!
But yeah, so I can do it, and that was with a 226 as well.
What Connors was talking about was the LBP.
The LBP.
Oh yeah, the LBP was good.
Yeah, because when you were a servant, you got a chance to shoot the Walther, because you were shooting it as doing this. And I just said, tighten your grip. And you went like that.
It's good.
Perfection.
So yeah.
Dan is asking, are we sharing a car with Paul? Down, boy. It's mine.
When?
When? Tonight.
All right, I'm leaving.
Oh, what, the car?
It depends. We still don't know 100% what's going to go on for the October trip.
I don't
This has been cancelled, I thought.
The October trips, I'm pretty
Has
sure
it?
been cancelled.
Yeah.
We need to get stuff rebooked and.
Well,
There's
Kiddle's
loads
put
of
2
stuff.
dates up for April next year.
Yep.
So
Yeah, no, like 100%. If we're not going in October,
I'm going in April.
then we're going in April.
I'm
like,
going in April even if you don't.
Like 100%.
You've got to stay behind and run this.
No, that's Paul's job.
No, it's your job.
But
No,
you
just
want to
like
get footage of me out there, so...
So Connors has to stay.
No,
I can
Connors
film.
knows how to use a camera, and he is the one that
not-
needs to go out there anyway, because he needs to
I mean,
test
there's
products.
known how to use a camera, and there's just been like godlike filmmaker.
Yeah, we'll get by somehow.
I mean, both of you are probably much better than Matt. No offence, Matt.
Does
but
Matt still film stuff in portrait?
No, he's got past that.
It's always like I always ask people like matches that we've been at, and I'll hand the camera to somebody else, and I hand it to them landscape, and the first thing they do is they're like, no, you film it, and they're like, but this feels so awkward. I was like, yeah, but the photo will look awkward in portrait, like trust me. Anyway,
Yeah.
cool. I think that's probably about it.
Yeah.
We've been jabbering on about all sorts of shit. The last
And I
nearly
want a
2 hours.
wee.
You want a wee?
You can go to the toilet.
You can go for it. It's all that Pepsi. Who's ringing?
My
I
brother
don't need a
again.
wee anymore.
Matt, do you want to go live on air?
Hello? Hello?
We have a guest.
My filming is not that bad.
What?
You're
This filming isn't that bad. The footage from the level 1 speaks otherwise, but I know that's partly down to the light as well.
All the scores are on practical competitor responded.
Yeah, if you send me the link, we'll have a look.
I can't.
Oh,
It's on my phone.
don't worry then.
Does he realise he's on?
I don't know, you do realise you're on speaker on stream, right?
Oh, I've got delay.
Yeah, the delay's brilliant. We should do that. We should put. I mean, we've got the Magload line. We should like put it. Oh, we would get all sorts.
We'll have to take the sticker off the back first.
No.
Not Rachel.
Not Rachel.
Wait,
we
you
should
named it.
Should we make next live stream a call-in live stream?
I don't think that's a good idea.
We can vet it to a certain extent.
I don't think it's a good idea.
That's up to you.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Well, it's not like, when somebody phones up a radio station and goes on some like extremist rants, they don't label the radio station as a forum
Yeah,
of
but the
extremism.
difference is
do
they have lots of people listening in.
Yeah,
to
but that's
conversations with
completely
a big
not
red
how it works
button.
for you.
Yeah, well, I know, it's weird that. Anyway, we're probably going to wrap it up there. I know it's been a bit of a different stream, well, even last week was a bit of a different stream, but I hope you're enjoying it. No moaning about the sound.
Funnily enough, maybe we stick with this mic if you guys are enjoying it.
What I was thinking.
Or maybe it's because we told them we've got the shit
No.
mic, and they're just like, okay, we'll deal with it.
No, the issue is we were using the other mic like this last week, and it's meant to be, you're meant to have it like on your face. That's when you get the best audio. So what I was thinking is bringing that in. I can have that here because I've got all of this the guys can't see it, but I do have a load of shit in front of me, so I can have the mic there and then put that more central to you and Paul. Then I can turn down the gain. It's a lot better. Anyway, we're always looking to improve it.
Yep.
Something that I've completely forgot to add, because I was talking about it a couple of weeks ago.
Happy birthday, if it's been your birthday in the last week.
Mazel tov. We talked about. I proposed about Magload starting doing safety courses, and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. And I said to anybody that was interested,
He's whoring me out again.
I do it all the time.
You love it.
Dance for me, dance.
You can't deny that you love it.
I can deny that I love it.
But you wouldn't be being truthful to yourself, would you?
No.
I would be being truthful to myself.
So you don't like it when people in a competition come up and go, Mr. Magload.
No, I want to be left alone. Thing is, everyone who sees me at a match goes, "Oh, he's really grumpy." It's like, no, I'm focusing on my fucking match, please.
No, you are grumpy when you're shooting. Because the first thing you want to do is go home.
Well, that's just
Or eat.
Yeah, before
that's just normal.
before you even get to the first shot, you're like, I don't want to be here. Anyway, it is confirmed. There is a Magload UK PSA long gun shotgun
First of many.
safety course.
We do not ship it worldwide.
Yeah.
You can't remove that.
Obviously, we're not doing that. But the first one is going to be held on the 2nd of October. It's a 1-day course in a range just outside Basingstoke.
Yep.
If you're a KFC member, you'll know all about it.
KFC members have also had first refusal on it, so any spaces that are left are spaces left.
The course will cover. I mean, maybe we should turn this in. Well, I have done a safety course video previously, but what it's going to cover: dynamic stance, various shooting positions, moving and shooting, no shoots, full stages. You're going to pick up additional skills like as trigger discipline. That's not really a skill, more as a necessity.
Yes.
Yeah.
You won't pass
muzzle
the course without
discipline.
It's the skill that you need to pass the course, and then you will build that skill through the course. Because I'll be shouting at you if your finger's not off the trigger.
He will. I can confirm.
I don't really shout, do I?
No. Stability while shooting, loading and moving, weak side shooting. And I can tell you.
Dan's asking what's in your basket. I think we should see what's in your basket. What's in your basket? What's in your basket?
Why have you got 4 things in your basket?
30 Nexus Pro.
24 breach flag, Velcro competition belt.
Meh.
Yeah.
Nice rig. Nice rig.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that really. But yeah, so we'd be running that course. So spaces are limited to 10. There's already been quite a lot of interest in them. So be quick. Don't and it's only a couple of weeks away. So if you want to get your safety course, you want to get into competition.
Also, there
get
is
signed up.
As part of the safety course, any safety course that I do starts with sort of an open book test before you even get onto the course. You want about a week or so to do that because it'll be back and forth because we keep going until you have it 100%.
Paul is saying, waiting to hear back about a course. Does this give a competition license?
Yes.
If you are a UK PSA member or become a member within 6 months of completing the course. If you don't, then you won't get the competition license, and like me, you'll have to do the course again. So I've actually done 2 long gun safety courses. One with...
You did an assessment on the second time. You didn't do the full course, did you?
No, I think because you were running a full course, so I attended the full course.
Oh, okay.
But I did one with Ian Corrigan, who runs really great safety courses, and also Connors. And I can tell you what, the first time I did a safety course, I was thinking this is going to be like teaching someone to suck eggs.
The first time you did a safety course, you nearly got thrown off before it even started.
Because I didn't do the assessment.
Didn't do the assessment, turned up 45 minutes late. And then Ryan turned up like an hour and 15 minutes late.
He really saved me because Ian was like, "Ugh," and then Ryan sort of rocked up half an hour later than that.
He had done his question paper.
No, he hadn't.
Hadn't he?
No, we both didn't do it.
I mean, I think I win when it comes to the safety course thing because I was on my work experience and I walked into the gun room and Connor's just like, you might want to put some better shoes on and a coat because we're doing your safety course. So I was like, okay, cool. So
I really thought that it was going to be, being taught to suck eggs, given that I'd had a number of years of like practical experience beforehand, and it really wasn't. There was some shooting that I did on both courses that I had never done before. And not only do you get to experience doing it, you are coached and taught and instructed in a constructive environment. You're not just shown what you're going to be doing. You're taught to a certain extent how to do it. Most importantly, how to do it safely. But yeah, and that really does transfer into matches going on. And what I say to a lot of people as well is that if you've been waiting to try practical shooting, you don't need to just throw yourself into a match. A safety course is a great introduction.
Could I just point out, this is a 1-day course, it's an intensive course, prior experience is highly recommended. 2-day courses will be becoming available for people who are completely fresh.
But if somebody, someone just wants to go and get the experience and have a day on the range and learn, then that's up to them. But it does say, to get the most out of it and with the greatest chance of getting your competition license, a bit of experience is needed prior.
My safety course was my first time shooting practical shotgun. I'd obviously done shooting in the past, but it was my first time shooting practical shotgun. And I learned lots.
And he had to use the stoker.
But it ran back then.
And I had to run your belt.
Oh yeah. Oh, you had to put your really big coat on to make it stay up.
So I had 2 hoodies on and my puffer jacket, and Connor's belt was done all the way up, and it was still slipping down.
But yeah, if you want to get signed onto that course, magload.co.uk, space is available as
just
we speak.
Search safety course in the little search box, because you won't be able to actually find it in a category.
No, it's on the homepage. Just scroll to the bottom of the homepage, or go onto the Magload Facebook page. You can sign up there. And yes, it will be the glorious Connors being your instructor. Don't worry, he is not as scary as he looks.
Until he takes off the beard.
You've seen him without the beard?
Well, under the beard.
How are you still alive?
Have you ever seen, was it Raiders of the Lost Ark, when they open the Ark at the end? It's a bit like that.
Do you guys need NRA qualified range conducting officers for your disciplines? No. The NRA and the UK PSA are completely separate.
If you want to compete on a world circuit, you have to be an NROI official, which is overseen by the UK PSA.
Not even just the world. If you want to shoot within the UK PSA, if you want to shoot sanctioned IPSC matches within the UK or international, you need to have the UK PSA certified qualifications. I believe the NRA...
The NRA one is not suitable because it doesn't cover...
It's not suitable. Obviously, it's for NRA matches and shooting. Mm-hmm. But I believe the NRA do accept UK PSA qualifications in their competitions.
Not necessarily. Okay. So the UK PSA NROI have recently been issued RCO, so all NROI officials are now issued MOD RCO cards, which enables them to RO on MOD ranges. So,
which happens to be Bisley.
Bisley. I don't believe the NRA are particularly happy about that. So I don't think the NRA had any say in that at all. But that's because being a UK PSA official absolutely qualifies you to officiate over someone doing static shooting, but doing an NRA qualification does not cover you for dynamic shooting.
Bisley and the NRA are dead set against fire and movement.
Yeah.
Even though in a number of the practical matches. Sorry?
But they do CSR.
Yeah, I know. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
But they're not firing on the move.
What about target shotgun?
They're not firing on the move.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But they move, stop, and then shoot.
Yeah.
Highly inefficient.
I know, right?
I bet you I can shoot that faster.
So slow.
But yeah, that's it. You turn up to your first CSR match and you're running down there, bang, bang, and they're all hitting the deck like, what the fuck is he doing? Winning. Anyway, I do think we're going to wrap it up there. So thanks everyone for a cracking live stream. Thanks to Paul and Connors as well for joining and adding to it even further. Same time, same place, 7:30 PM UK time. Next Thursday we will be back. Hopefully it won't be as engineering and competition focused.
Why not? I enjoyed it.
Hopefully some stuff will happen in the next week that we will be able to talk about.
No, don't say that because something bad will happen.
I didn't say bad.
No, because when it's talking with
you are like the Daily Mail.
Bad.
It works, right? It works. But yeah, anyway, thanks everyone for joining.
No, he's like the sun without the tits. Oh, okay, no,
could
sorry,
say
I take it back. He's got the tits.
Just not the good ones.
Hey, you know why they call me a gigolo? Because I jiggle, yo.
And on that note,
can someone make that into a GIF, please? But yeah, anyway, guys, we will see you next week. Have a fantastic week of shooting, and hopefully you'll get up to some shooting this weekend. And as always, we hope to see you soon.
I don't.